sent my parents $550 a week so they could live well, but on my kid's birthday they didn't show up. When I called, Dad snapped. We don't count your family. I hung up shaking and shut down every account in my name. 40 minutes later my mom lost it. I grew up believing family was everything. When my parents hit hard times 3 years ago, I didn't hesitate. I set up a direct transfer of $550 a week to keep them comfortable. It was a massive financial strain on my own household, but my wife supported it. Because that's just what you do. You take care of your people. I paid their mortgage, covered their smartphones, and made sure their fridge was full. I justified their constant lack of gratitude by telling myself they were just proud and embarrassed about needing their son's help. I was an absolute idiot. Last Saturday was my son Leo's 5th birthday. We planned a huge backyard barbecue. My parents promised me for weeks that they'd be there by noon. By 2:00 p.m. my kid was starring down the driveway holding a little plastic dinosaur asking when Grandma and Grandpa were coming. My heart broke for him. You can mess with me, but you don't break promises to my kid. I grabbed my phone and stepped into the garage to call them, genuinely worried something bad had happened. My dad answered on the 4th ring. I could immediately hear the clinking of glasses and loud obnoxious laughter in the background. They were at a restaurant. Hey Dad, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Are you guys almost here? Leo keeps asking for you. There was a heavy, irritated sigh. Look, we're at a late lunch with your sister and her husband. We aren't going to make it. My blood ran cold. My sister, the golden child who had never given them a single dime or lifted a finger to help them. It's his 5th birthday, I said, my voice rising. You promised him. Why wouldn't you just tell me you were with her instead of leaving a 5-year-old? Waiting. Then my dad said the words that shattered 30 years of blind loyalty. Don't be dramatic, he snapped. Your sister is our real priority. Honestly, we don't count your family. You chose to move away and marry her, so deal with it. We're busy. Click. He hung up on me. I stood in the dimly lit garage for a full minute, shaking so hard I dropped my keys on the concrete. My vision actually blurred. All those long weeks of working brutal overtime, skipping our own family vacations, telling my wife we couldn't afford home repairs just to send them that $550 every single Friday. We don't count your family. The sadness vanished in an instant. It evaporated, replaced by a suffocating, freezing anger. I didn't yell. I didn't punch a wall. I walked back into the house, kissed my wife on the cheek, hugged my son, and went straight to my home office. They had fundamentally misunderstood our arrangement. They thought the money was an unconditional obligation. They forgot whose name was actually on all the accounts. I logged into the joint checking account I had set up for their weekly allowance. I transferred the entire balance back to my personal savings, zeroed it out completely. Then I logged into my cellular provider's portal. I navigated to their 2 premium phone lines, clicked manage devices, and permanently suspended their service. Finally, I went to my auto insurance website. I removed both of their vehicles from my policy in less than 10 minutes. I had completely erased my financial existence from their lives. I went back outside, grabbed a cold beer, and watched my son smash a piñata. I felt lighter than I had in years. Exactly 40 minutes later, my wife's phone started ringing. It was a local restaurant number. My parents' cell phones were now expensive bricks, so they had to borrow a landline. I took the phone and stepped away. Hello? It was my mom, and she was absolutely hysterical. The card declined. We just tried to pay for a $350 brunch, and the card declined, and our phones say no service. What did you do? I took a slow sip of my beer. I could hear the sheer panic in her voice. My dad was loudly arguing with a waiter in the background. My sister was apparently nowhere to be found when the bill actually came. I'm just prioritizing my real family, I said, my voice dead calm. What are you talking about? She shrieked. Fix this right now. The manager is threatening to call the police. You told me you didn't count my family, I replied smoothly. So I decided not to count you in my budget. That $550 a week is staying right here for Leo's college fund. You can't do this to us. We're your parents, she sobbed. I'm not being dramatic, I said, throwing my dad's exact words back like a grenade. You're with your real priority. Let her pay the bill. We're busy. I hung up and instantly blocked the restaurant's number. I went back to the party, picked up my son, and gave him the biggest hug of his life. They never actually respected me. They just respected my wallet. The voicemails from random numbers over the next few weeks were endless, but I didn't care. I used the money I saved that very first month to take my wife and kid to Disneyland. It was the absolute best investment I ever made. Like and subscribe for more stories like these.